Hi, we are at Oliewenhuis Art Museum. It's a gallery here in Bloemfontein in the Free State, and we're going to be speaking to some people that love art and love the fact that this place exists, and we're going to see who it's helped, who it can help, and why we should all love it. So come join me. I'm a big lover of arts as well, and a lot of people like to talk about it as if it's this expensive hobby that people have, and you know, it's so difficult to break through and make money, and you know, there's almost a glamour associated to it, you know, and then there's always the struggling artist, you know.
We try to support and buy Free State art as far as it's possible.
Yeah.
And then obviously looking after it so that the next generations can come and see. That's the one thing. The other thing is education is also still very important for us. Outreach, getting people here, educating people, and that education is from preschool kids coming here to have a ride on the carousel, right through to students, right through to academics who want to come and do research, right through to old age homes coming to visit us. So we really try to get the community involved. We try to break down the barriers. A lot of people are scared of art museums and art galleries.
Right. And what would you say is your opinion about what type of influence art should be having at the moment in the world? And you know, not just in Bloemfontein, because it's an international space.
Yeah, there's so many different types of art, and artists work with so many diverse themes and concepts.
Yeah.
But I think in general, if one wants to really generalize, one can say that art is also always about life, and yeah, the artists, yeah, how they see life. And I think it's important for people to take their time to reflect a little bit and to think what the artist is saying, what is this artist commenting on. Because I think it becomes you become a richer person through that. We've become, without wanting to sound vain, but we've become a very popular space to exhibit.
Yeah.
So we're very full. We're fully booked until the end of the year and for 2015. So we're in a position to very carefully select who and what we want to exhibit. So, well, in any case, we will look at your detailed proposal. We'll go to the advisory committee, which consists of various academic people, also just art lovers from the Bloemfontein and surrounds. Yeah. And we all together decide whether it's an appropriate exhibition, whether it fits into our diversity sort of schedule. Yeah. For example, we don't want to have 5 photographic exhibitions in 1 year. Yeah. We would rather try and... So then there's various aspects we look at, and then if it gets accepted, we start talking about dates and the logistics of getting the exhibition. No, they don't have to pay to exhibit. We assist them with things like transport costs. We try to always bring the artist here for walkabouts and things like that. We assist them with that. So no, the artists don't pay, but we also don't pay them specifically. We pay for some of the services we give them, or the logistics surrounding it. When someone presents an exhibition to us, presents their work to us, we look at a diverse range of things. How I always explain it, and it's a very simplified explanation, is that an artist, you know, either has to be technically really excellent. There always need to be concept. There need to be something more than just a pretty picture. Yeah. And then often the combination of those two things would determine how strong that person's art is.
Art has got this tragic reputation for artists not being able to survive on their art, and then years later when they're dead, it's always this joke, oh, I want to sell my art before I'm dead, you know. And it does have that tragic reputation. What would you say for people that, you know, they're not sure if they should start or continue or carry on? Yeah.
I think they need to realize that it's very, very difficult being a full-time artist.
Yeah.
And you'll find that most South African artists. I mean, really great artists like Diane Victor, Jan van der Merwe, Willem Boshoff. Yeah, most of them are involved in tertiary institutions. They teach, for example, or there's always a sort of a sideline. There's a few artists who's doing very well just producing art. I mean, one of them, for example, is Pauline Gitter.
Yes.
I mean, not she's rolling in money or anything. I mean, but she's surviving being a full-time artist. But the fact of the matter, it is very difficult.
We do consume art, and I think that's what I'm also trying to be part of. I want people to, to feel like that's something that that can feed them as well.
That's the thing, and what people also have to remember about collecting art or even just looking at art, it's an expression of your creativity. You express your creativity through looking at other people's art and collecting art, because the choices you make, for example, when collecting art becomes a creative process. So for a lot of people that doesn't have the luxury to spend their creativity, spend time on their creativity creating things, collecting art is a wonderful thing.
We are at Oliewenhuis here in Bloemfontein. Inside, Jan van der Merwe is going to chat to us about the exhibition at the moment. It's called Time and Space. He's using rusted metal to speak about memory, about absence, about presence, all without actually using the human figure. So we'd like to find out more about that.
Yeah, at the moment, the selection of work here is about 10 years selection of work, and I'm working with private space and public space. We're standing now, it's called Outside, and that's a more private space. It's actually a little monument for my mother. And the next piece, just next to this piece, is actually a little kitchen, and I call it Confessional, and it's for my grandmother. So, and then we've got the big film theatre at the end. That's one of my biggest installations. And the interesting thing, when you go into a film theatre, when the lights are on, it's a public space, but when the lights go off, it's a private space. So yeah, I'm dealing with little private spaces and public spaces, and try to say something about life and something about personal people, and hopefully the installations, when people walk into the installations, they can make up their own stories. And the material that I also use, is rust.
So let us know why you've chosen rust as your medium.
Yeah, well, from when I was very small, I grew up in Ladysmith, KwaZulu-Natal. My dad worked on the railway. I did work on the railway for 1 year before I studied art. And if you know the color, if you go to a railway station, it's rust, and the rust is just a beautiful material for me. But it's interesting. When my mum, just before I took her to hospital and she died, 13 days before she died, she actually took her vanity case and put
this one right here?
Yeah, this one here. And she did put lipstick on, and then 13 days later she died in hospital. And when I went back to my studio, it was so beautiful for me, that moment, that she actually did make herself beautiful. But in my studio there was all these little tins standing around there that I used for my brushes, and some of them were rusted. And then at that moment, the rusted material started to just have new value for me, in a sense, because the original function of a tin is to preserve food, and then people throw it away. And I try to preserve something that's fragile. Life is fragile also, and rust needs to go back to the original dust. And the rust is also a fight against time. And the interesting thing is also the rust allow me to put contemporary time into archaeological time, so I can shift time. So the exhibition's name is Time and Space.
Corinthians 1 verse 13, though I speak in the tongues of angels but do not have love, you do not have love, you must always have love.